As a waitress brought Barron Trump his order at a serene café, she anticipated nothing beyond the usual flow of her shift. However, what he left behind, a note and a tip, moved her to tears and ignited a nationwide conversation. The aroma of espresso intertwined with subtle hints of freshly baked pastries hung in the atmosphere. The afternoon stillness lingered more than normal, and the buzz of chatter in the cafe had gradually faded to a whisper. For Dinah, the shift felt like an exhausting journey. Each tick of the clock felt like an eternity, and every clink of cutlery echoed the reality of her long hours on her feet. She polished the final table by the window and glanced at her phone. Only one more hour to go. With rent looming just 2 days away, her phone bill remained untouched and unpaid. The tips that day were dismal, primarily consisting of small coins carelessly dropped onto the table by hurried customers who remained glued to their screens. Dinah took a deep breath, tightened her ponytail, and picked up the order pad. Her manager, an older woman with weary eyes, offered her a look that seemed to convey, persevere. Yet Dinah had already slipped into a state of autopilot. Suddenly, the chime above the entrance sounded. The noise jolted her attention back to the present moment. A young man entered, tall and lean, clad in a simple shirt and slacks that gave him an air of effortless sophistication. 2 men trailed closely, merging seamlessly with the surroundings, their keen eyes absorbing every detail of the space. The cafe certainly didn't attract a crowd of notable figures. It wasn't the sort of venue where one would anticipate the presence of famous personalities, much less someone accompanied by what appeared to be security personnel. For a brief instant, Dinah paused, her pen suspended above the notepad. However, a sense of professionalism took over, and she made her way to the table in the far corner where the young man had positioned himself. "Good afternoon," Dinah remarked, attempting to summon her most genuine smile. "Would you like me to bring you something to begin with?" The young man lifted his gaze, and for an instant, Dinah almost lost track of her words. His face was captivating, yet there was an air of familiarity about him, his features, the subtle tranquility in his expression. At that moment, everything fell into place. Barron Trump. Dinah had encountered his visage splashed across the headlines throughout the years. Child of the previous leader. Her heartbeat raced, yet she adhered to her training. Maintain your composure. This was simply a customer, nothing more, nothing less. I'll simply have a cappuccino. Perhaps one of those croissants, Barron suggested gently, his tone courteous yet restrained. Certainly. Is there anything more? He shook his head in disbelief. That will be just right. Much appreciated. His words were straightforward, yet there was an undertone that Dinah found elusive. Perhaps it's kindness, or simply a matter of sincerity. She hastily jotted down the order, pivoted back to the counter, and attempted to dispel the fluttering sensation in her chest. Uncertainty clouded her mind, whether it was the weight of nerves or the heaviness of exhaustion. Yet this moment lingered with an undeniable intensity. While Dinah brewed the coffee, her eyes drifted to the corner table. Unbeknownst to her, this seemingly insignificant exchange was poised to upend her entire day, and perhaps even her week. The cappuccino machine emitted a soft hiss as Dinah expertly frothed the milk, creating a delicate cloud of steam. She moved with intention, each action measured, a careful dance to divert her attention from the peculiar flutter of anxiety coiling within her gut. Why am I behaving this way, she pondered. Barron Trump. Out of everyone. Her gaze flicked back to the table. He sat in silence, his posture poised yet relaxed. He wasn't lost in a screen or tapping away on a keyboard like the other visitors. He gazed out the window, his mind adrift in a sea of contemplation, oblivious to the world outside. From time to time, he took a sip of water from the glass she had left for him earlier. As the cappuccino and croissant reached perfection, Dinah had comfortably nestled into her spot. With a steady hand, she navigated the tray towards his table. "Here you are," she said softly, setting the cup and pastry down in front of him with care. He lifted his gaze and offered a subtle smile. "Thanks a lot. It was my pleasure. If you require anything further, please don't hesitate to ask." she responded, maintaining a tone that was both neutral and courteous. As Dinah pivoted to return to the counter, an unseen force held her in place. Perhaps it was the sensation of his gaze lingering on her, intrigued yet respectful, or perhaps it was merely her own fatigue heightening her self-awareness. In any case, her heart raced once more. As time slipped by, Dinah occupied herself with the task of tidying up vacant tables and replenishing the sugar containers. The cafe had fallen silent once more, with only the soft murmur of background music drifting from the speakers. She sensed the heaviness of the room more acutely than ever, as if an unseen force was compelling her to focus, to truly notice what lay beneath the surface. From the periphery of her vision, Dinah caught sight of Barron retrieving a pen from his pocket, bending over the receipt as he concluded his meal. He hastily jotted down a few words, as if eager to keep it hidden, folded the paper with care, and discreetly placed it under the vacant coffee cup. He rose, collecting his phone and coat. Dinah observed him for a fleeting moment before she compelled herself to concentrate. "Thank you for coming," she murmured gently as he walked by. Barron glanced back with a subtle smile. "Wishing you a wonderful day ahead." Their resonance extended far beyond what was necessary. Dinah remained motionless in the center of the cafe, her gaze locked on him as he departed, flanked by his security detail. The bell above the door chimed for the final time, leaving the room enveloped in silence once more. With a measured exhale, she lifted her tray and approached the table to tidy up. The cappuccino cup lay vacant, a delicate trace of foam lingering at its edge. Next to it, the plate that once held croissants was now merely a collection of crumbs. And there it stood, the invoice. Dinah lifted it with caution, the creased paper seeming weightier than expected. Her initial consideration was the gratuity. Perhaps it would be considered generous, yet such behavior was not unusual among affluent clients. They frequently tossed money about to compensate for their absence of connection. Yet as she opened the receipt, the breath in her chest disappeared. At the bottom, beneath the total, lay a figure, a tip so substantial it sent a jolt through her stomach. For sharp numbers, and above it a carefully penned note. "Your generosity and dedication are truly appreciated. My family has experienced what you are going through. Remain resilient. Radiant days are on the horizon." Dinah's hands started to shake. She absorbed the words once more, this time at a leisurely pace, allowing each sentence to resonate within her. Her gaze flicked to the door where Barron had vanished, and her sight became hazy as warm tears gathered in her eyes. Her knees trembled with uncertainty. She faltered as she returned to the vacant chair opposite where he had been and simply gazed. The message, the suggestion, it transcended mere financial gain. It was the language, the burden of understanding, inscribed in words by a person she never thought would acknowledge her presence. After what felt like an eternity, Dinah finally sensed the warmth of recognition. With tears cascading down her cheeks, she pondered the significance of those words. Yet this moment lingered on. Not at this moment. A different pair of eyes would catch the note, and Dinah's tale was on the verge of spreading well beyond the confines of the cafe. The sudden creak of the cafe door swung open, pulling Dinah from her reverie. She hastily brushed away her tears with the back of her hand, slipping the note into her apron pocket just as her manager drew near. "Are you all right?" her manager inquired, her eyes narrowing with concern. What transpired? Dinah paused for a moment, searching for the perfect expression. I'm fine," she said, her voice wavering just a bit. Simply an exceptionally generous gratuity." Her manager arched an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. "So generous it brings tears to your eyes?" Dinah nodded, letting out a wobbly laugh as she extended her hand toward the folded receipt, offering it out. The instant her manager caught sight of the number, a low whistle escaped her lips. "Absolutely not. Who has abandoned this?" "Corner table," Dinah responded, her tone now more gentle. "That was Baron Trump," her manager said, blinking in surprise. "The Baron Trump? Is this for real?" "Indeed," Dinah remarked, retrieving the note from her pocket. "However, it's more than just the financial aspect." She passed the note with great care, as if it were fragile and could disintegrate at any moment. Her manager read it, and for the first time in months, Dinah noticed a true warmth in her boss's gaze. "Wow," she murmured, returning the note. That's quite remarkable." "It truly is," Dinah concurred, carefully folding the note once more as if it were a precious artifact. "I can't quite grasp the reason behind his decision to write it. I didn't engage in anything out of the ordinary." Her manager regarded her intently for a prolonged moment. "At times, it seems that some individuals possess an innate understanding, Dinah. They are aware of your struggles, even if you believe you are concealing them. You show up daily, putting in the effort, consistently treating customers with kindness, even those who may not appreciate it." Perhaps he noticed that. Dinah took a deep breath. She was unaware of the depth of her longing for those words. For months, she had been struggling to stay afloat, putting in long hours at work to meet the rent, sacrificing meals to ensure her mother could afford her medications. She had remained kind, for it was the sole fragment of herself that she had not allowed the world to strip away. And in some way he had perceived that. As the moments ticked by, an unusual hum enveloped the café. A pair of colleagues murmured near the pastry showcase, gesturing toward the table where Barron had been seated. Word spread swiftly, and soon enough, one of the baristas approached her. "You provided him with your service, didn't you?" the girl inquired, her tone a blend of exhilaration and incredulity. "What did he mention? Was he kind?" Dinah offered a subtle smile. "Indeed, he was quite pleasant." The barista chuckled. "I'd totally lose it. That's absolutely wild." Dinah remained silent, offering no further words. She preferred to keep the note and the tip shrouded in mystery. In a way, revealing it seemed akin to exposing something cherished and placing it under scrutiny. At this moment it belonged to her. The remainder of her shift slipped by in a haze. Each encounter carried a sense of ease, as if buoyed by an unseen force. With each table she cleared, the task became a bit more effortless. As she finally removed her apron at the close of the day, the neatly folded note stayed secure in her pocket. As Dinah navigated her path to the subway station, she clutched the receipt once more, her gaze fixed on the words before her. "My family has experienced what you are going through. Keep your resolve firm. Radiant days are on the horizon." She murmured the phrase softly, as if voicing it would somehow bring it to life. She pondered the necessity of his words. He was indifferent, yet he did. As the train clattered through the tunnels, Dinah shut her eyes and let herself entertain the thought, for the first time in ages, that perhaps things might improve. Yet, unbeknownst to Dinah, this serene instant would soon resonate far more profoundly than she could have ever envisioned. The note was destined to be uncovered soon enough. The following morning, the sun timidly crept through Dinah's apartment window as her phone vibrated on the nightstand. With a frustrated sigh, she turned over to glance at the screen. A multitude of notifications inundated her lock screen. "Why is everyone messaging me?" she murmured, narrowing her eyes at the screen. "Is this you, girl? You have achieved great recognition. Is this genuine?" Her thumb lingered above a message containing a link. A screenshot captured the headline of the Daily Post. Barron Trump leaves a heartfelt note for the waitress along with a generous tip. The online community responds. Dinah jolted awake, her heart racing in her chest as she clicked the link. The piece recounted the narrative in precise detail. A waitress facing challenges, an unforeseen visitor, a heartfelt message, and a gratuity that appeared to transform her existence. The attached photo features the note itself. Her note, crafted in Barron's precise handwriting. Dinah's hands trembled as she navigated the screen. What led to this situation? She clicked on yet another message from a colleague. The gentleman at table 5 yesterday? A note must have caught someone's attention, prompting them to take a picture. It has permeated every corner now. Her heart sank. All around, as she scrolled through her social media feeds, everything she needed was right in front of her. Across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, the message had spread like wildfire. A multitude of comments flooded in. This is precisely what the world craves more of. Baron Trump appears to possess a gentle spirit. I remain unfazed by others' opinions. This is exquisite. Hold on, what about the server? I truly hope she is doing well. As Dinah delved deeper into the pages, a wave of overwhelm washed over her. Unknown voices engaged in discussions about her narrative, her existence, while remaining completely unaware of her true self. She tossed the phone onto her bed and concealed her face in her hands. What should I do next? She murmured softly to herself. The echo of her mother's cough resonated from the adjacent room, drawing Dinah back to the present moment. She had to keep her composure, especially with bills looming and groceries to purchase. Yet, as she grabbed her bag and rushed to work, the unease in her stomach lingered. She felt unprepared for her narrative to be shared with the world. That day, the cafe had an unusual atmosphere. As Dinah stepped through the threshold, an unmistakable sensation washed over her. She was the center of attention. Her colleagues beamed at her with a warmth they had never shown before, almost proud. A few familiar faces looked up from their steaming mugs, seemingly attempting to verify if she was indeed the waitress featured in the article. Her manager welcomed her with a broad smile. "You're quite the local legend now," she playfully remarked. "I don't feel like it," Dinah muttered. "You should," her manager said, offering a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Yesterday was a remarkable day, Dinah. Not everyone has the opportunity to be involved in something like that." The words were meant to provide solace, yet Dinah only felt vulnerable. She was nothing out of the ordinary, merely a waitress fulfilling her duties. And Baron Trump, he hadn't done it for the spotlight. As she fastened her apron and entered the room, Dinah sensed the invisible gaze of the world upon her, even in their absence. She navigated the morning, skillfully avoiding inquiries from both customers and colleagues, maintaining a cheerful facade whenever they brought up that charming young man or the words he had penned to her. It was during lunch that tensions finally escalated. A news crew set up their equipment outside the cafe. Equipment, recording devices, everything you need. "Are you kidding me?" Dinah sighed heavily, her gaze fixed on the reporters who hovered by the entrance, engaged in conversation with her manager. Her stomach churned as one of the reporters locked eyes with her and offered a courteous wave. "You're the center of attention," her colleague joked. "Fortunate me," Dinah whispered softly to herself. She crouched behind the counter and retrieved her phone, perusing the most recent headlines. The responses poured in quicker than she could comprehend them. That note likely preserved her existence. This serves as a valuable lesson in compassion. Little acts hold immense significance. I would love to see more narratives like this. Amidst the tumultuous turmoil, Dinah sensed the slightest glimmer of hope. It had transcended her singular existence. The essence of it was kindness, on the significance of small gestures and their potential to create a meaningful impact. Yet Dinah faced one final choice, one that would shape the conclusion of her tale. As Dinah's shift drew to a close, the cafe seemed to shrink around her, overwhelmed by the intensity of the gaze it attracted. She slipped out the back door, steering clear of the news crew lingering outside. As her sneakers made contact with the pavement, she let out a breath, as though casting off unseen gazes. The journey back was serene, excessively silent. The streets seemed foreign now, as though the world had shifted just a fraction from its usual alignment. Dinah held her bag close, the note securely nestled within. Her phone vibrated with a sudden buzz. Yet another message. "Dinah, they're eager to have you on television. Morning broadcast. Reach out to me." It was her supervisor. Dinah halted her steps, her feet firmly anchored to the pavement. The thought sent shivers down her spine. Appear on television. Share her narrative? Negative. That was not her. She preferred to keep her image off the screens. Wouldn't it be wonderful to provide an explanation? A faint voice murmured. To convey to the world its significance? Dinah gazed at her phone for an extended moment before forcefully tucking it back into her bag. Her response would need to be postponed. At home, Dinah discovered her mother nestled in her recliner, casually flipping through the television channels. A recognizable voice suddenly resonated from the television. A heartfelt note from Barron Trump to a dedicated waitress is capturing the affection of people nationwide. Dinah stood motionless in the doorway. A blurred image of the receipt appeared on the screen. Her note, paired with the headline, "A quiet act of generosity sparks national conversation." Her mother glanced up, a gentle cough escaping her lips. "Isn't that you?" Dinah let out a weary sigh and let her bag fall to the ground. "Absolutely, Mom. That's who I am." Her mother's expression warmed as she motioned for Dinah to take a seat next to her. "This is quite a positive development, you see. Stories like this are essential for people." "I didn't ask for it," Dinah muttered, her arms crossed tightly. "Occasionally, the best things come into your life when you least expect them," her mother said softly. She extended her hand and gently grasped Dinah's. "What he crafted, that was extraordinary. People are discussing it because they yearn to hold on to the notion that kindness still exists in the world." Dinah swallowed hard, realizing she was now part of that. It seems overwhelming for me, Mom. As if I'm unworthy of it." Her mother slowly shook her head. "Please refrain from making that statement. Your daily efforts are essential in maintaining our stability. Your kindness to others shines through, even in moments of fatigue. That is your essence, Dinah. And someone witnessed it. Someone chose to remind you of your significance." Dinah's eyes brimmed with tears once more. Yet this time, she embraced them. Her mother was correct. The note encompassed more than just her. It revolved around hope. It was about revealing to others that even the simplest acts could hold significance, that compassion still mattered. That evening, as Dinah reclined in bed, her gaze fixed on the ceiling, her phone vibrated again. She was certain of what it was without needing to verify it. Increased numbers lead to a surge of inquiries and a cacophony of sounds. Yet, hidden away, the note lay nestled beneath her pillow. A concrete reminder that there existed someone unforeseen, who had noticed her. For once, Dinah felt seen. The following day, Dinah arrived at a decision. She reached out to her manager. She whispered that she would take part in the morning show. Her manager almost let the phone slip from his grasp. "Do you really think so?" "Absolutely. However, I won't delve into the financial aspect. I would like to discuss the note. On the subject of kindness. That concludes everything." The interview was straightforward. Dinah perched on the couch, her hands clasped anxiously in her lap while the host leaned in closer. "Dinah, you've captured attention these past few days due to an unforeseen turn of events. A message and a suggestion from Barron Trump. Could you share your feelings upon your initial reading of it?" Dinah hesitated, selecting her words with precision. "To be frank, took me by surprise. The focus was never on the financial aspect. It was the essence of his words. I've been navigating a challenging period, and those words resonated with me in ways I can't fully articulate." The host gave a slight nod. "The message conveyed that your generosity and dedication are truly appreciated. My family has experienced what you are going through. Remain resilient. Radiant days are on the horizon." What do you believe he was implying with that? Dinah cast a quick look at the camera, an unexpected sensation washing over her, as if she were addressing each viewer directly, rather than just the host. It seems he was suggesting that everyone faces challenges in life. Regardless of our backgrounds or the families we hail from, there are moments, especially in our darkest times, when a simple gesture of kindness has the power to transform everything. It serves as a reminder that there is someone who acknowledges your presence, ensuring you feel a sense of companionship. The studio paused, the gravity of her words lingering in the atmosphere. The host beamed with warmth. "What a lovely sentiment. Dinah, do you have any messages for Barron if he happens to be tuning in?" Dinah's voice trembled just a bit, yet she managed to smile. "Simply thank you. Not for the cash, but for the chance to witness me. For encouraging me to cling to hope. Your impact is greater than you realize." As the interview played on screen, Dinah chose to ignore her phone. She overlooked the comments and the headlines. Instead, she returned to work the following day, apron fastened securely, a touch more buoyant in her step. The cafe buzzed with an energy that was palpable. Customers regarded her with a new warmth, not due to their awareness of her past, but because she radiated a sense of recognition. Individuals penned heartfelt messages on napkins, offered a bit more in gratuity, or expressed genuine gratitude with a simple thank you. Dinah carefully preserved Barron's note within her wallet, ensuring it would remain there for many years ahead. Don't forget that even the smallest acts can have a significant impact. You can never truly grasp the power that a handful of words can hold in restoring hope. At times, even the tiniest gesture of goodwill can transform a person's existence. Perhaps it's a gentle word, a supportive gesture, or simply acknowledging someone's significance. Whose spirits can you elevate today? Keep in mind, better times are ahead for everyone. At times, a gentle nudge is all we require.